You know the image, right? Especially around Christmas time, it's absolutely everywhere. The Holy Family. You've got a serene mother, a watchful father, and this perfectly peaceful child in a manger. It's the picture of perfect tranquility. But what if I told you that the real story behind that peaceful picture is anything but quiet? And that the whole concept, something we kind of take for granted, is way more recent and complicated than you probably think. Today, we're going to peel back the layers on one of the most iconic images in Western culture.
So, first things first, let's go right back to the source. And I mean, forget those calm, quiet nativity scenes for a minute. Because the Gospels, they don't paint a picture of serenity at all. They tell the story of a family in immediate and constant danger.
Yeah, if you actually read the accounts, they're just packed with tension, fear, and a whole lot of uncertainty. This is not a family posing for a nice portrait. This is a family on the run, facing life-or-death situations right from the very beginning.
I mean, it kicks off almost right after Jesus is born. An angel shows up in Joseph's dream with this terrifying message. Get up, grab the child and his mother, and run to Egypt. Now. Why? Because King Herod, the paranoid local tyrant, is about to launch a massacre to get rid of any potential rivals. And this newborn child is his #1 target. Think about that. This is a story of political refugees fleeing a murderous regime.
Now, what's so fascinating here is how the Gospel of Matthew is deliberately framing this whole story. Does any of this sound familiar? A tyrant ordering the death of baby boys, a hero child escaping to Egypt, only to return later as a great liberator? Matthew is 100% echoing the story of Moses. He's showing his audience that Jesus isn't just a holy child. He's the new Moses, here to lead a new kind of exodus.
And it's not like the danger just stops. Years go by, and the family is on a pilgrimage to Jerusalem. On the trip home, they realize something absolutely horrifying. Their 12-year-old son, Jesus, is gone. For 3 agonizing days, and I mean, this is every parent's worst nightmare. They're frantically searching for him, just sick with worry. So when they finally find him in the temple, just casually amazing all the religious scholars, you can imagine Mary's relief mixed with a little bit of anger. She says, "My child, why have you done this to us? Your father and I have been searching for you in great anxiety." And his reply is just startling. It's mysterious, almost distant. He says, "Why were you searching for me? Did you not know I must be in my Father's house?" So even inside this very human family, you had this profound divine mystery that his own parents are struggling to wrap their heads around.
So, okay, the stories themselves, they're ancient. They're filled with drama and deep theology. But here's the big twist. The formal devotion to the Holy Family, the one we're all so familiar with today, is actually surprisingly modern.
So that's the big question, right? If the Gospels tell these incredibly dramatic family stories, why in the world did it take almost 1900 years for the Church to officially create a feast day for the Holy Family? Well, the answer tells us as much about our own history as it does about theology.
This timeline really shows you how it was a slow burn. The whole idea started bubbling up in 17th century France, but back then it was really all about Jesus. Then in the 18th century, a confraternity gets started over in Quebec with a very specific goal to help unite the French colony. But get this, it wasn't until 1893 that Pope Leo XIII made it an official church-wide feast day. That peaceful Christmas card image you have in your head, institutionally speaking, it's a very modern invention.
So, why then? Why did the late 19th century suddenly become the perfect moment to elevate this particular image of family? Well, to understand that, we have to look at the massive social changes that were happening all around that time.
And here's the crucial piece of the puzzle. The 19th century saw the rise of what we call the nuclear family, a mother, a father, and their kids, as the central, idealized unit of society. This was a really big shift from the more extended communal family structures that had dominated for centuries. See, as the church's direct political power started to fade in an increasingly secular Europe, it needed a new game plan to maintain its influence. The family became a key focus. By promoting the Holy Family as the ultimate model for this new nuclear ideal, the church could offer a powerful spiritual anchor. It gave people a much more relatable, more incarnated model of holiness than, say, the super abstract Holy Trinity. It spoke directly to people in their homes, in their daily lives.
So how do we square all this? How do we put these two pieces together? The ancient stories of a family in crisis and the modern ideal of a peaceful, perfect family. Well, it turns out they're not contradictory at all. They're really just two sides of the same coin. And you can actually see this shift reflected in art history. It's fascinating. For centuries, when artists painted Jesus, Mary, and Joseph, they were often part of a bigger, more communal scene, surrounded by saints and relatives. But that tight, isolated focus on just the three of them, the nuclear family, that's a much more recent trend in art, and it perfectly mirrors that historical shift we were just talking about.
So what we're left with is this beautiful paradox. The Holy Family is, on one hand, a profound theological mystery that tells us something about God's relationship with humanity. But on the other hand, the way we think about it, the image we hold in our minds, has been powerfully shaped by social forces and specific moments in human history. It's a divine story, told in a very human language.
And maybe that's the ultimate takeaway here. This isn't just a story about some family from 2,000 years ago, or a religious devotion from the 1890s. It suggests something really powerful about our own lives. As one biblical scholar puts it, each of our families lives a divine story in the most banal reality of its human history. So the next time you see that serene Christmas card, maybe you'll see something a little different. A story of crisis, of survival, of historical change, and of the extraordinary mystery that's hidden in the ordinary life of a family.